I think 100 people applied for that job, but there I was writing that essay as second lady to try to get the job.
Are you a hard grader though?
I do demand a lot of them.
Dr. Biden, you're continuing to teach at Northern Virginia Community College as First Lady.
Yes.
You're the First Lady to keep her job. Why is teaching at community college so important to you?
Well, you know, I taught in the high schools for 13 years. And then a friend of mine went to the community college and said, Jill, you have to come and visit community college. So I went for a visit and I walked in the door and I don't know, it just felt like home. I felt it was my niche. And I started teaching there and I saw, you know, the students, how serious they were about their education and how tough it was for them, that they were working and they were going to school and they had children or some were taking care of older parents. So I just saw just the resilience of the community college and I loved that about it.
Is there any particular story of your students or their personal stories that have inspired you during your teaching?
You know, there's so many stories. I mean, I could sit here for hours and tell you all about my students. I have to tell you, one semester, it was the day that research papers were due. And it was like 6 o'clock in the morning, and I got this text from one of my students, and she said, Dr. B, I can't hand in my research paper today. I'm on the way to the hospital to have my baby. And so I said, excuses, excuses. And so, I mean, that just shows that how dedicated my students are to getting an education. And darn if she didn't have it in that week.
I love that. Going back to Dr. B, the professor.
Yeah.
What type of teacher are you? If I was in your class, what would I expect?
I hope that my students think I'm a fair teacher. I mean, that's important to me. But I work really hard from the first day of class to create this sense of community, because here at where I teach, students come from 3, maybe 4 different states to come to class. As you said, they're all different ages. And so they lean on one another. And I teach writing. Students write very personal things. And so I want them to become like a family, like a writing family. And it's interesting. This past semester, I had to learn to teach over Zoom. And I thought, oh, how am I going to create community? But by the end of the class, I felt really the students took over. I mean, they were like, you should do this in your essay, or you should change that. I mean, they really depended and supported one another. And I don't know, it gave me such joy.
I hear you encourage your students to journal. Why is that important?
Yes. Well, and especially during this time. So I ask them to journal every week. Sometimes I give them a prompt, and sometimes I ask a prompt from them. And I think it provides the creative part of their writing, because my course is very structured. It's how to write 5-paragraph essays, research papers. But in their journals, they can write anything they want. And it was so funny. This semester, I had one class of very young boys. And they said to me, Dr. B, they said, can we ask you a question? I said, sure. And they said, can we curse in our journals? And I said, sure. And they were like, yes. You know, it was like that was so important to them. They can say anything they want. They can express anything they want. And I then get to know them. Sometimes it's like more than I want to know.
It's like a diary.
Yes, it's like a diary. But, you know, one thing, especially during this pandemic, and I hope that your readers will do this, this is so unique, the pandemic. And we should write about it. You should write about students. People should write about how it affected them. How did it change them? What did they learn about themselves? Were they stronger than they thought they were? Did they struggle more than they thought they would? When you have grandchildren, that your grandchildren know what it was like for you to go through this really horrible, tough time, hard time.
Monumental time. And a global experience, but everybody has their individual take on it. And I love that concept in journaling. We're here today because it's something very special that we're doing at Glamour. It's been 60 years that we've done College Women of the Year. This is the first year that all of the winners will come from community colleges.
I love that.
Right? I know, we're so excited.
Yeah.
And when we talked about it as a team, the word that kept coming up over and over again was opportunity. Do you think the place and the role of community colleges in America is undervalued by some?
The community colleges really meet the students where they are. So they don't have to choose between working and going to school. So they meet the needs of the community. So if the community needs nurses, they train nurses for that community. In the Midwest here, if they are building windmills to provide energy, they have programs there that help repair and build windmills. Or I've been to the West Coast and they have maritime programs there. So the one important thing about community colleges is that when you go there, you will get a job. And of course, then there's the other track. If you want to go on to 4-year, most states have programs where you can slide into a 4-year college.
Meet them where they are.
Yes.
One of the other things that you do at your community college is you mentor women. Why is it important? We at Glamour are always talking about mentoring women and the importance of it.
Yeah.
Why is that important to you?
Well, I see so many women who, like myself, like when I went for my advanced degrees, I had 3 children. I was teaching every day, and then I was going to grad school. And here I'm teaching women who are working jobs. They have children, but they're trying to get ahead and make a better life for themselves and their children. I thought it was important to help them. You may not know this, or the average age is 28 there. So they come back, and a lot of students have math anxiety. So we help them with whatever it is. If it's math anxiety, maybe they need childcare. Maybe they don't know how to use the computer as well as they should know how to use it. And of course, it's just helping them out with life. It started out as women over 30, but then so many young women students came to me and said, Dr. B, we want to be mentored too. And so then now it's everybody. Everybody.
And I love that you talk there about the cross-generational people that become first-time students. We've seen from the applications to the College Women of the Year, there is a 74-year-old woman that had to teach herself how to use a laptop and get involved in tech, and 18-year-olds that are playing soccer and doing it. What is your advice for first-time community college students?
People should know that they're a stepping stone to whatever they want to do in the future. And they provide such a good, strong foundation. I think that they're very nurturing. The classes are smaller. All you need is one person to believe in you, and then you can soar. So this is just the beginning for so many students.
Are you a hard grader, though?
Well, I would say I ask them to write a lot, but then I give of myself as well. So I give a lot of feedback. And it's like I say that writing is a skill. And if you were a basketball player and you went out to the court and you threw that basket or the ball, and you threw the ball to get in the basket, eventually you're going to land in the basket. And so the more they write, the better they become. And so you have to write a lot. So I do demand a lot of them, but let's face it, this is their future. People judge you on your writing, and they're all going for jobs. They're all probably going to have to write some sort of essay for their job application. When I went to Nova, I had to do the same thing. I think 100 people applied for that job. But there I was, writing that essay, a second lady, to try to get the job. So it's important that they write well.
I love that. And talking about second lady, finally, Dr. Biden, we are in these beautiful surroundings, which are very familiar to you. You spent 8 years here as second lady. How different is it walking into 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue as first lady? What does that mean to you?
It is a lot different. On the other hand, I knew from being second lady the power of my platform. And every first lady has a choice of what the issues she decides to work on, or maybe she chooses not to work on anything. But I knew when we got elected, I knew exactly what I wanted to work on. I knew exactly who I wanted to work on the issues with. And so I felt really good. I felt really confident that once we were, after the inauguration, we got right to work. We actually got to work before the inauguration. So I feel it really helped me to be second lady. And of course, you know, the other parts of the job I was already used to. I had already had Secret Service. And some of the other different, you know, parts of the job.
You knew how to find your way in the first week. There was no learning curve there. Yeah,
exactly. So that helped a lot, I think, because I think being thrown into it was, you know, I know how hard it was as second lady to get used to different things, you know, like if you wanted to go on a run, for instance, and you had 4, you know, runners right after you.
It's a good pace to set, right? You got some pace.
Yeah. Let me see if I can outrun these guys.
Can I outrun the Secret Service? I hope the answer is yes. Dr. Biden, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us.
Thank you.
And I think we're going to do some very exciting surprises now.
Oh, good. I look forward to it.